The scandalous mystery. The lights are dimming on Italy's greatest vocal export, but it isn't because they lost their voices. And the reason behind the sudden quiet surrounding Il Volo is sending shockwaves across the European music industry. Across Europe, the trio appears to be vanishing from radio playlists following a toxic showdown at San Remo, leaving fans wondering if this is simply a natural shift in musical taste or a coordinated industrial cold shoulder that threatens the future of one of the world's most recognizable operatic pop acts. For more than a decade, Il Volo, the celebrated trio formed by Piero Barone, Ignazio Boschetto, and Gianluca Ginoble, has stood as a symbol of Italian musical heritage, fused with modern crossover appeal. Their soaring harmonies brought classical vocal tradition to global audiences, while their concerts filled theaters' arenas and cultural landmarks from Europe to North America and Asia. Yet in recent months, a strange phenomenon has begun to unfold across European radio networks, where the once familiar sound of their orchestral pop arrangements is appearing less and less in daily rotation. The industry insider internal playlisting data now reveals a surprising trend because broadcasters across the continent appear to be quietly distancing themselves from Il Volo. What started as intense press room hostility during the San Remo festival has gradually evolved into a broader transformation of radio identity, where stations are redefining their sound to match the rapidly changing tastes of younger digital audiences. Industry analysts studying programming patterns have noticed a growing emphasis on gritty sonic textures, electronic minimalism, and hypermodern synth-driven pop styles that dominate streaming platforms. Within this new sonic landscape, the sweeping orchestral arrangements that define the operatic pop style sometimes struggle to fit within tightly curated playlists designed for constant digital engagement. We are diving deep into the secret shift toward darker textures and stripped-down production that has turned this globally successful trio into unexpected radio outsiders almost overnight. The identity crisis. Can a single prestigious festival transform a global powerhouse into a brand that broadcasters suddenly view as risky? That question now echoes across European media circles because programmers are increasingly pivoting away from artists associated with traditional crossover sounds in order to maintain what they describe as a contemporary sonic identity. For Il Volo, this moment has created a strange paradox, where the trio continues to command loyal international audiences, yet simultaneously faces growing challenges within certain broadcasting ecosystems. The story begins with what many observers now call the San Remo catalyst, which refers to the chain reaction triggered by tense exchanges inside the festival's press room. Detail from that moment reveals journalists openly debating the artistic direction of the trio, with some critics questioning whether the classical-influenced opera genre still aligned with the evolving identity of the Italian music scene. When those discussions spread online, they ignited passionate debates among fans, critics, and industry professionals across Europe. Analyzing how professional commentators mocked the trio's traditionalism in those conversations helps explain how quickly narratives about artistic relevance can spread through the media ecosystem. Once the perception of being stylistically outdated begins circulating among tastemakers, it can influence how programmers evaluate an artist's compatibility with their station's evolving brand identity. Connecting the dots between the Italian media backlash and the ripple effect across European broadcasting hubs reveals how interconnected the modern music industry has become, where a single cultural moment can reshape perceptions across multiple markets. The great sonic pivot now underway within radio programming offers further insight into this transformation, because 2026 audience data shows stations aggressively experimenting with new sound palettes. Explore the shift, and you will hear playlists filled with gritty textures, experimental electronic beats, and minimalist production styles that contrast sharply with the grand orchestral arrangements traditionally associated with operatic pop. Explain why the genre, sometimes labeled popra, is viewed by certain station directors as a high-risk category that may interrupt the listening flow for audiences accustomed to shorter, more rhythm-driven tracks, dominating digital platforms. Highlighting the contrast between Il Volo's sweeping orchestral arrangements and the low-fee minimalist aesthetic currently shaping charts, illustrates the cultural crossroads facing many classical crossover artists today. The silent blacklist is the phrase some insiders now use to describe what appears to be happening across several major European networks. Reports from broadcasters, including major stations within France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, suggest that Il Volo has quietly disappeared from certain high-rotation playlists. Discussing the concept of brand toxicity reveals how programmers sometimes avoid artists who appear to conflict with the modern sonic identity they are trying to cultivate for their station, even when those artists remain commercially successful elsewhere. Examining the drop in radio play across key European markets shows how quickly programming strategies can shift when stations begin prioritizing contemporary urban influences, electronic experimentation, and digitally trending genres. Industrial Cold Shoulder describes the broader contrast now emerging between Il Volo's thriving global fan base and the changing metrics used by broadcasters and streaming platforms to evaluate relevance. Contrast the trio's massive touring success with the challenges of maintaining visibility in algorithm-driven ecosystems where younger audiences discover music primarily through short-form video social platforms and viral trends. Break down how the so-called San Remo effect influenced advertising conversations where brands increasingly target demographics perceived as younger and more digitally engaged. Analyze the reduced label investment in radio promotion as industry resources shift toward artists who generate high social media engagement and rapid streaming growth. Yet despite these challenges, the future of the Operatic brand remains an open question rather than a definitive ending. Speculate on whether Il Volo could evolve their sound by experimenting with modern production techniques while preserving the vocal power that made them famous, or whether they will embrace a heritage status that celebrates classical excellence outside the fast-moving pop radio environment. Assess the risk that other traditional artists may face similar challenges as broadcasting networks continue to double down on niche sonic identities designed for specific digital audiences. Conclude with the broader lesson emerging from this moment, which shows how quickly a safe and respected brand can be perceived as outdated within an industry defined by constant reinvention. Through the extraordinary voices of Piero Barone, Ignazio Boschetto, and Gianluca Ginoble, Il Volo continues to represent a rare fusion of operatic discipline and contemporary storytelling, and whether their journey leads toward reinvention or heritage status. Their legacy in modern crossover music remains undeniable. And if you love Il Volo music and want more deep documentaries exploring the real stories behind Piero Barone, Ignazio Boschetto, and Gianluca Ginoble, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now, so you never miss the next investigation into the evolving world of Il Volo.